minutes into 10 a.m. in Central African Time. Thank you very much for listening via channelafrica.co.za across the African region on satellite channel PAS10. So, South Africa has one of the African continent's more developed agricultural insurance markets, and it's offering a lot of valuable lessons on how insurance can help farmers recover faster, invest with confidence, and also strengthen long-term resilience. So that is the conversation in this half hour for Living Land, as we essentially explore the role of agricultural insurance in securing Africa's farming future. On the line with me, I've got Andries Mahlase. He's joining me in his capacity as Executive Manager of Operations at Land Bank Insurance. Dr. Mahlase, thank you for the time. Welcome to the program.
Thanks very much, Matseko. A pleasure for inviting me to the show.
Thank you very, very much. I think this one is very essential to agriculture because we are seeing, higher fertilizer and fuel costs that are affecting the farmer on the ground, increased farmer production expenses that are going up on a daily basis. I mean, it is so difficult for the farmer to keep up at this time. One of the first things that I am likely to chop as an expense as a farmer is insurance, because I'm trying to balance my books and really trying to keep my operation in check. Why is that such a bad idea to cut off insurance when I'm trying to balance my books and really make ends meet?
Thanks, Matseko. You are correct. As farmers, as households come under immense pressure, the first thing to cut in order to survive and live, farmers and household would look at the things like insurance to cut in order to survive. But as you rightfully said, this is not a good idea for the simple reason that agriculture as a whole is important for household food security. It's a primary industry. It's an industry that most households on the continent rely on it for employment generation and other income streams. It's a bad idea because agriculture or farming generally is an open air industry which relies on weather and is exposed to huge weather risks. Uh, in agriculture, crops, for example, are a growing commodity from planting to harvesting and transportation to the market. So farmers are exposed to a lot of weather events. If you look now, we have the whole of the region or the continent. Farmers are exposed to drought. Increasingly, we have weather patterns changing. I mean, in the last summer, we have seen consistently high and continuous rainfall in most parts of southern Africa, affecting farming operations, increasing hail events in the southern tip of Africa, in Cape Town. We have also seen a lot of floods that washed away a lot of farmlands, a lot of infrastructure, and we are also experiencing increasing outbreaks of diseases, for example, foot and mouth disease in most parts of the country, and in particular in South Africa. So without insurance, farmers face the risk of their production being destroyed by hail or any weather element, or if it's a livestock farmer, his animals would suffer immensely and even die from outbreak of diseases. So in that instance, it is critically very important for farmers not to cut away insurance as an expense, but to integrate insurance as an important risk transfer mechanism. In doing so, it, insurance will make sure or ensure that farmers' production is protected. When a farmer has got a disaster, insurance payouts will enable the farmer to recover quickly. And secondly, farmers' income will stabilize. And thirdly, farmers will have the opportunity to adopt and invest in new technology to expand their production. Most of the farmers on the continent, um, are largely small or emerging farmers who rely on agriculture for their livelihood. It's in a few countries, largely where we find large-scale commercial farmers, particularly in South Africa. We have a lot of commercial farmers. I think on average, there are about 30,000 commercial farmers, and the bulk of the farmer, or the majority of farmers in South Africa, are smallholder farmers. But on the rest of the continent, the majority are largely resource poor farmers. So in the South African context, insurance is highly used by commercial farmers to protect their farming operations. And in South Africa, the majority of covers that are offered in this market are indemnity type of products. So indemnity meaning specialized insurance products that are offered to farmers to protect farmers' balance sheet. But these are products that are offered to well-established farmers. So if we look at globally, the global agri-insurance market, I think Allianz Re estimated to be around $53 billion. With $53 billion, the major players in the global market is Asia, with its China and India. Their contribution is about, give or take, $25 billion. And the second biggest market is North America, Canada, and the US, with about $21 billion. And the rest of the countries play a much lower role. And Africa itself, its contribution is about 0.5 or less than 1% of the global market.
All right.
One of the reasons, okay.
Yes. No, I really want us to take this in bite size to give the listener an understanding as to, the importance of agricultural insurance at this time, but also to look at where it is underutilized, because you mentioned that it is, of course, considered highly in commercial farming operations. So where is it underutilized? We're going to take a break and return and look at, some of the biggest barriers perhaps that are preventing farmers, maybe in a small scale, to take up agricultural insurance. We take a break and return.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation. The Upside with Poppy Jongwana and Nsako Mhlanga.
The moment that we've all been waiting for at Channel Africa One on the socials. She's a digital entrepreneur, an all-round superstar. Micheline Damase, welcome to Channel Africa. Welcome to the Upside. I've been so excited to get you onto the show. I'll tell you why, as a rash for you. And by rash, I mean that I stalk you.
Oh, okay.
Stalking you in a very professional way.
Obviously, having started off in the beauty space, having insecurities, acne, adult acne, and first started off as a mask, and then became a passion and more of an art and a craft. And then transitioning into fashion was so natural because I've always been someone who loves fashion. So I decided to go into business with my mom, who is professionally a fashion designer as well as a businesswoman. And just us having similar style and understanding the African market, I felt it would be a great venture. So that's how we transitioned into fashion. I'm still a beauty girl, but I'm more of a fashion girly, I think now. I don't know. But I mean, there might be something coming up for beauty. We'll see.
The Upside with Nsako Mhlanga and Poppy Jongwane. Catch it on the Channel Africa app. Weekdays from 3 to 6 Central African Time. Look closer. Listen deeper. This is The Channel with Mateko Musito on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
21 minutes into 10 a.m. in Central African time. Thank you very much for staying with us here on the Journal as we look at the living land, talking all things agriculture. I've got on the line Andries Mahlase. He is Executive Manager of Operations at Land Bank Insurance. And essentially, the big question is how prepared are African farmers in being able to manage the agricultural risks? And where does insurance then fit into that as a solution, if you will? That is essentially the big idea behind this conversation right now, as we look at the climate issues, the livestock theft, and so many other issues that surround farming operations. How does insurance then fall into the solution basket of that? Ndata Mahlase, let's talk about agricultural insurance and how it is underutilized perhaps in certain farming operations, just to use South Africa as an example. And perhaps you can give us a sense of where the biggest barriers are. Where are the barriers that are actually preventing farmers from seeing insurance as something that is essential and part of the business operation?
Thanks, Matthew. There are a number of reasons why farmers are not integrating insurance in their risk management strategy. One of the biggest reasons is insurance know-how and farmers not having sufficient knowledge, particularly smallholder farmers, on not only the benefits of insurance, but the type of insurance products that they need to integrate into their operations. Know-how is key, especially smallholder farmers find insurance being quite a complex topic. The second issue is the issue of affordability. Most farmers find insurance not being affordable to them. It's not only a problem for smallholder farmers, but it's also a problem for commercial farmers. In our context, in South Africa in particular, out of the 40,000 farmers, 1/3 of those farmers are insured, which talks to costs of insurance, because in South Africa, we are one of the few markets in the world where insurance is provided generally without government support, okay, or government subsidies, if I were to put it that way. And therefore, as insurers are taking the exposure on their balance sheet. And of course, we have reinsurance companies backing insurers, but in protecting the balance sheets, insurers will not offer a full bouquet of covers that farmers require. For example, South Africa is exposed to drought. The drought covers offered to farmers, which is multi-peril products, are limited because all over the world where you offer drought cover, there has to be an element of premium subsidy to cushion and reduce the price for farmers. So cost is a big issue. And the second one, as I've said, know-how. And the third one, it's appropriate products for the full range of farmers, commercial farmers, small, and more particularly the smallholder farmers. Smallholder farmers find this barrier being huge because of the size of their operations, the products, and so forth. And that commercial insurers do not have appropriate products for them. But we, at the Land Bank, for example, I have introduced index insurance products for pasture drought and area yield index to support this market. It's a simple product which does not require the sophisticated methods of a normal commercial farmer, where we use technology and weather and satellite technology to support the farmers. But again, what we found is that without this premium support to the farmers, take-up would not be high. And especially for smallholder farmers. And therefore, we would require close-up cooperation and develop public-private partnership strategies and structures to work with government and other public sectors to support the government. We've started those negotiations and discussions with the government to try and provide a mechanism where we can support farmers. If I can use Zambia as an example, with their farmer support program, where they have 1 million farmers that are being supported through FISP, it's private sector and public sector coming to play. Insurance companies joining hands and making insurance affordable and easily accessible to farmers. So in doing so, it opens the door for farmers to be able to access finance, technology, and other means for their production.
Okay, so in short, insurance is not just about, claiming when the disaster happens. It's actually part of a risk management and planning and advisory support that is quite important, especially at this time when we're looking at farming operations, not just as farming operations, but as actual business entities. But if I am looking for more information, maybe I know very little about insurance, and I think you did allude to the fact that it can be quite intimidating for farmers to try and find out about these packages. But where do I start? Where do you advise I start? Do I contact Land Bank Insurance and get an understanding, or what's the best approach at this time?
The best approach, if you are in South Africa, contact the Land Bank. At the Land Bank, I think it's not the question of just offering a product. We need to walk the whole journey with the farmer, explain to the farmer the type of risk he's facing, what risk mitigation measures he needs to adopt.
Yeah.
Insurance comes in the middle or at the end. In the beginning, because agriculture is a business, the farmer needs to understand his location.
Okay. I think we're battling with these lines, but we really get it, okay? I think if it would be in your best interest, if you are a farmer and listening to the program, to get in touch with Land Bank Insurance, and they will walk the journey with you. I think that's very important, because it can be very intimidating, lots of information, costs are involved. Why is insurance so important in your farming operation? That's essentially the big question. And Land Bank Insurance is just one of one of the organizations that would be able to assist you in that regard. So that the voice of Andries Mahlase, who's Executive Manager of Operations at Land Bank Insurance.
This is the Chart Toppers on Channel